Hey, everybody. Welcome to week 6 of the Curator program. Before we start today, maybe, just a few words. It's, lots happening in the world right now. Um, and just want to reflect a little bit that, the world is a complicated place, but we are building a global community, um, people all over the world. And my hope is that, even as things are happening in the world, we remember that, we're one global family. We're all in this together. And, we're all trying to find the truth. Sometimes the truth is complicated, sometimes it's messy. My hope for this community is that we find, good ways to elevate the conversation, have quality discourse, try to find the truth and work together because we're all, brothers and sisters. So, just want to say that at the beginning. And yeah, so let's kick this off. So, um, so far, we are 200 curators that have been joining, more applied, but applied to different spaces as members. We have our three initial spaces that we've been live with. I'm pretty sure we have more than 25 proposals published, but yeah, over 2,000 entities, lots of great things. I might have just been in one space. I'm pretty sure we have more than that. Um, Maybe that was in the last week. I'm not sure. Huge thank you to our mentors. Um, Folks have been doing a really great job. Uh, Hopefully, you've all been paired with a mentor and have had a chance to sync with them and have been learning as you go. I mean, we're just seeing a bunch of proposals getting published and content getting approved every day now. So it's been really exciting to see. And big thank you to these mentors have been available throughout the day, getting pinged in lots of different directions and have been doing really great work. Adam, do you maybe want to walk through some of the curator highlights and what's been happening over the last week?
Sure. So yeah, shout out to all our curators for doing some great work. We wanted to highlight kind of three um, uh, really interesting and really, good contributions that we've had. If you click on them, actually, you'll be able to open them, Yaniv. So the first one is really impressive work by Giannis, who basically mapped out all of the key team members of OpenAI. Interestingly, when you click on a team member, you'll see that there's very in-depth information and background of everyone. This is really the kind of contribution that is a great example of the power of a knowledge graph, and we're kind of just getting started. So thank you a lot. We just wanted to share with you guys as well the kind of work. Um, Thomas, oh, you have to be in a slideshow mode to or that. Oh no, I think if you you got to put yourself in slideshow for the links to appear. Sorry. Thomas has been working on some really interesting educational resources in the AI space. I don't know if he'll have some time at the end of the call today to kind of share more about the work he's been doing. But again, everything he's been creating a lot of different relations, structuring all of this. And one of the first projects he's taking on is structuring some education materials on OpenClaw to help people get started and so on. And then last but not least, really impressive work here where, 100 and more cover images, and even for every single company, went above and beyond and added the Twitter links for all these companies when that wasn't even on the bounty. So yeah, really kudos and great work here.
We've got some new features that we added in the last week. So one, you may have seen now that when you go to publish a proposal, you see a button to link the bounty. And you should see any bounties that you've been allocated to show up when you click that button, and you can check which ones are relevant. And that's going to tie it so that people can rate those proposals, and we'll be able to calculate the right points for the bounties. This is going to be a bit of a work in progress. There are different ways that we want to experiment with, reviewing proposals and actually allocating points for work that is done. Sometimes it's going to be, with the direct rate, ratings on proposals that have been published, and sometimes it may be a more manual process of, maybe an editor has seen that someone's done really great work and they just want to assign you points for the work that you've done. So there's going to be a lot of experimentation here, but we want to try to create as much transparency as we can, linking work that people have done to the points that they're earning. So please use this new feature and link your proposals to the bounties. Is there somebody that would like to give a little tour of the Power Tools feature? I know that last time Arturis went through this very briefly, but I think it's worth actually doing a little bit of an overview so people know what's here. Arturis, would you want to do that?
Yep, sounds good. So just sending a request to share.
Should be granted.
Thank you. So this is the experience we had before this feature, which is you have the tables, you add the content in the table, and so we can take a look and see it here. And there is a limited amount of how much data we can show without hopping to a next page, right? So if there's more data, you sort of have to hop in between pages. And that's the experience of like sliding throughout. So now, if you click on the three dots above, and here's an open full screen, this is on any table. And if you click that, you will get into a full table view. And this we're trying to create an experience that's a sort of, we call it the power tool. Sort of, this is a more powerful, quicker way to browse the data, check the data, to work with this data. There's going to be a bunch of edits and improvements that is going to be added into this, and it's going to be an evolving product. We're going to be taking in feedback and working on it. So here we have the filters. Filters work the same way as they did on the normal tables, but we can do the same thing. So we can filter by types, by properties. So let's say I see a chain here, Ethereum. Let's see if this is going to be the one. No, let's see. The Ethereum is project protocol. Gonna be this one. Oh, there's a bunch of filters already added. So, basically throughout here, we'll be able to filter through any properties, and we're going to be able to see those entities here. So filters are going to actually have some improvements. We're working on find and or filtering. So you'll be able to see, let's say, a specific type of content. Maybe you only want to see laws, but specifically only introduced by a specific lawmaker. So that's more or less an approach. And some things down the line, it's bulk editing. So we'll be able to check in a bunch of entities at the same time and add a tag or like some property on them with one go. So this already, the biggest, let's say, unlock right now is just ability to see all of the data in one go. And this is really good for reviews. The improvements are going to be going out over time. So basically, just a thing to note is just we have like open full screen mode on the button here and take advantage of it. And we're open to getting some feedback and some help on what's the next feature that you'd say would provide an unlock.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Next feature, this one's for developers. We saw somebody, I think over the weekend, asking about this in the SDK. Previously, there was actually some missing functionality with deleting entities programmatically. Something just for the time being, we do have a limitation in our indexer with the delete entity op. And if you were using the SDK, basically that just wasn't working and you had to work around it. So now we've implemented this functionality into the SDK. So if you're a developer, you can update to the latest version of the Geo SDK, and you can now just call the delete entity function, and it'll take care of blanking that entity out for you. So that's a nice quality of life improvement for developers, the latest version that's out today. If we just kind of take a look, right, just navigating around, we're trying to do a lot of quality of life improvements, both for non-technical and technical users. But already, I think, navigating around is pretty great. I mean, we can see lots of proposals coming through from different people, which has been awesome. And we're seeing quality content coming in. We have a bunch of new features that we're working on for quality of life. One big one that we're hoping to have here in the next few days is CSV imports. So we're going to make it so you can upload a CSV. You map the types and properties. To start, it'll be CSV, and then we'll also support Excel files, which allows you to basically upload multiple types with different sheets at the same time. The trick here is going to be we're going to try to automate the sort of find or create. So if you have relations and you just have like the name or comma separated list of names, we're going to try our best to find if there's an existing match. If it's not clear if there's a match or not, we might need user input for you to disambiguate whether you're trying to create a new entity or whether one of the existing entities is the one you're trying to reference. So we're working on this feature and we'll have it very soon. So I know we have maybe 20 curators or so that have some great CSV files. They're non-technical. They want to import them. So just hang in there in the next few days. We'll have the CSV import functionality for you, and you'll be able to import it quite easily. Working on better features for merging entities to deduplicate. We know we're already starting to get some duplication. We want to be able to deduplicate those. We're going to do some of this work on our side as well to automate removing some of the duplicates, but we'll try to make it easy for others to do as well. So you can look forward to that. Some things just on the governance. So just currently, the governance parameters are set for 24 hours. And that can be enough time for people, but sometimes it is not. So make sure that if you submit a proposal and you're expecting somebody to review it, right now you can ping them to let them know that you've submitted. The editors are going to try their best to keep checking. We also have tools for the editors that we're going to be sharing with them soon, probably maybe in the next 2 weeks or so, where they can get better notifications so they can be more responsive. So in the meantime, you'll just want to make sure that they can kind of check. We're also going to look to make it so that if for some reason your proposal didn't get voted on in time, that it's easy for you to just click a button to republish again. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to do a deeper dive on governance, I think next week. I think it'll be interesting to kind of talk through some of the parameters and how the governance is currently structured. But for right now, I think we're mostly focusing on the initial content, and so hopefully, if you've got a good line of communication with your mentors, they should be able to make sure that all of your edits get published and reviewed. So as we get through our initial bounties, we want to start working with folks to really go deep on some things, and we'll find the right bounties to create. But two of the places that I think would be really great to go much deeper on is people and news. So we've been going through, and we've actually spent a good amount of time on news in the past. Our geo explorers have gone, quite deep and have created some nice patterns. And over the weekend, I've also been doing a little bit of work on this myself. And what we would like to be able to do is a good job of like news aggregation. And so, if you take a space like AI, I mean, every day there's, important news stories that come out. There's so much happening in this space. And it would be really nice to have a curated, aggregated list of all the top news stories of the day and, specifically, what was announced and things like that. So this is an example, right? It's a news story, has a nice kind of simple name. We have a nice cover image. It's got the description. And then what we do here is claim and quote extraction. All right, so here are like the top claims that are extracted from, an article. We actually can link to all the different articles. We also do topic extraction. And so this is really something that's better kind of done initially for, by developers. And we actually have some tools that we've already built for topic extraction and claim extraction. So, for the developers in the group, I think would be great to get some discussion going maybe in the Discord around, how to do claim extraction, topic extraction, automating this sort of work. And to start to do it for different spaces, right? Maybe we have people that take ownership of different spaces or subspaces and say, hey, I'm gonna own making sure that every day we're extracting the top news stories, for my part, right? My subspace. And so giving ownership of areas, that's a little different than just the bounty by bounty. But I think if we think about news and what it would mean to really be on top of, getting news in a timely way, it's an interesting question. Does it have to be real time as soon as something happens? Is it something where, maybe 4 times a day, right? We publish and we update, okay, here's the latest AI stories from the last 6 hours or whatever. There's really lots of ways we could do it, but I think, it's interesting to consider that model of people taking ownership and automating, publishing things like that for news in a timely way. And so this is something we're going to want to go much deeper on over the next few weeks. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to us, and we'd love to work together. And it'll start out by being this automated thing, right, to publish the latest news. But then there will be lots of room also for non-technical curators to then go through and and help to organize that even better. Um, and we're going to be releasing a lot of great tools to help people participate and do that soon. So news is an area that we're really interested in and would love to see more people kind of diving into. And we can start, if you're interested, again, just start with conversation in Discord and in our community calls that are coming up, and we can go deeper into that. The other place that we want to go deeper on is people. And I guess I'm going to show something before it's really ready. Just I think it's worth kind of starting the conversation so people can start thinking about this. In an ideal world, we could go into, quite a bit of detail on people's like profiles. And I'm going to be working on my personal profile, and I will have that to show soon. So I guess it'll be a next week thing. But just to give you a little taste of this is a little kind of demo, but imagine if we could just put together, really nice homepage for people where you can see the projects that they've been involved in, their key contributions, maybe their blog posts that they've published in different media, different tweets that we could aggregate. If they've given talks, what are those talks or podcasts, and we're organizing all of that, a full like work history, education history. So, something like this, you could really get like a great picture of somebody's work and contribution to an industry or to an academic field. And we could have it in a way that's beautifully visualized. Um, and so right now, working on finalizing the ontology, we already have most of that done. I'm going to give an example with my own personal profile. But most of this information is public, right? Almost all of this information is public. So if we can, uh, really hone in on the ontology and start to work through like processes for doing this, that's the level of detail that I would love to get to for people, and we could start by having really quality profiles for people. And I think that'll be great to really start to understand for each industry, who are the most accomplished people. This can help to feed our future reputation systems, and also be a really great kind of onboarding process so that we can show people, stuff that they care about, right? You can almost think of it a little bit like, on the web, one of the first things people did when they checked out the web was they would Google themselves, right? I don't know if you remember that. It's always like, huh? They've got information on everything. Okay, you put your name in there. Okay, what, you Google yourself. So this is a little bit of the equivalent of that. And is an interesting area to start. So if you're interested in that for any of these initial spaces, right? Lots of interesting people doing great work in AI and crypto and health. Would love to see people go much deeper on people. So some nice areas to look into. New spaces. So we're going to be opening up U.S. politics, world affairs, and education later this week. There's a lot happening in the world. Maybe a good time to start diving into world affairs. We would like to create some custom UIs for some things related to this too, but just as a starting point, just news, for example, right? We talked about news already, but we could start to organize news for U.S. politics and world affairs. There's a lot to do in education. So I think, up until now, we've done a great job of publishing our initial content. Hopefully people are starting to get comfortable with, the geo knowledge graph. A lot of people have published their first proposals by now. So you've had a chance to really understand ontologies, right? The types and properties, right? Entities and relations. I think at this point, people are kind of, getting there. And, I think, another week or two of this, and I mean, you'll all be experts. I think we're getting quite close. And then we can kind of start to expand. So I think, yeah, I mean, the crypto, AI, and health space, they still definitely need more work. So I think we're not done there. but we're just going to start to open up a few more spaces fairly soon. So keep an eye out for that. Let's do a little content review. Arturis, you maybe want to go through some of the highlights?
Yep, sounds good. So let's take a look at some of the content that was added since. So we have some content for each space. So here we have for the health organs. So here we go. We have heart, brain, lungs. So this is great. We have descriptions. Descriptions looking good. Let's take a look maybe at the few entities in a closer way. So a good clean description, body location, body systems, can regenerate, minimal. Okay, interesting information. So I would say, so first of all, this is super impressive. Related organs, okay, that's great. So few notes that I can give about in general and sort of when we're working on the data. One of the biggest things that really differentiates like a really high quality data from any other on the knowledge graph is how much are you able to leverage relations, right? The whole point of the knowledge graph, like one of the bigger points is that everything is interconnected, right? And then we can define those connections. So always think when you have a property, could this property link to entities as opposed to just having a text, right? And so it does make sense for us for now to sort of to take it a bit more casually and just get the things out, get them reviewed, get them looking good, and then add that on top. But just as a general guideline, for example, functions. And if we have circulation of blood, okay, so circulation of blood is actually like an important concept, right, in the health space. So that might as well just be an entity, right? And it could be a function as a type, as well as a topic, and then it could be connected through here, right? So that's like some general guidelines. Some naming conventions we have in the curators program page, on Geo. In the space for the naming conventions. And it's a small thing, but as it is a shared knowledge graph, having the conventions that everybody follows does help to keep things neat and also help with the duplication, which is we want to have the first word of entity names to be capitalized. So for example, like blood right here. So looking good. For the organs, we have biological pathways. Right here, a pathway, we have a description, body systems, some information about it, pathway category, signaling. Yeah, looking good as an entity. We have symptoms, nausea, low mood. Yeah, so these are good. And some data about them, assessment method, body systems. So this is really starting to be intricate. We have some clear information, some improvements that we can move forward over time, which is just adding those more connections. But overall, this is a great data all around. Exercise equipment. Okay, so that's the health. I'd say like quite some good contributions. Then we have on the AI space, so AI laws. So this is some interesting information right here, and we have the data enacted. We have introduced by. Here we will be able to later add some extra information about the politicians, about their party affiliations. But it's good that we actually create the entities, right, so that we know on what we want to be working later. So jurisdiction, so some clear, good information about the laws right here. And I would say like this is already looking good. This is already like a clear law with some clear information about it. We'll be able to think about what additional data we want there, but this is looking clean. Research papers. So research papers is a super interesting topic. Like here, we'll be able to later move even forward, like even more with this, and we'll start extracting the actual contents from them. But so this is a great setup for that. We have the authors, we have the X archive URL, which is great. So we can check in, citation count, that's a great data. Key contribution. Okay, that's interesting. So this is maybe like a thing that maybe could be like leverage. We can leverage some claim types for that, but this is overall a good property to portray related topics. So this is good. Like this we can use to organize and like related topics we can organize. Basically, topic is something by design a simple broad level entity, so that we can use that basically just to classify all of the content across different types, which is good for us. Research lab and venue. So good information. And so like creating some companies as a relations for us to later fill in is also great. So, by the way, checking in the ontology, it's we're using the right types. If a type exists in a root space, we always want to use that. If the type doesn't exist in a root space, then we can check in the specific space if the type is specific to that space, right? So like ontology is looking clean as well. Okay, so we have that research papers. We have research papers by with here. Okay, so some imagery as well. Description, same ontology, looking good here. So I would say looking good. Funding round, so we'll be able to track. And by the way,
just a little ontology question I would have is, and these are the sorts of questions that come up. So something like X archive URL, or however you pronounce it. Part of me wonders, like, are all papers on that website, or would it be better to have a more generic property name that is like paper URL or something like that, so that regardless of where it's hosted, we can always get, the link to the paper?
I would say definitely a more broader one would work better. And another thing that, as an ontology question, we will have to figure out maybe over time. Sometimes papers can be hosted on multiple websites.
Yeah. So it's an interesting question, because something like, okay, Crunchbase URL, that makes sense because Crunchbase is its own place. And so, right, you do want to be specific to say, okay, that's the link to the Crunchbase. But something like a paper, right, that I think can be hosted on different places. So probably.
Yeah. And we do have the general web URL property right here.
Mm-hmm.
So we will be able to use that.
I would use that.
Yep. So some good content. So funding rounds. So that's an interesting type of data. Amount raised, that's the amount announced. Crunchbase URL, currency, investors, in stage, lead investor, funding project, and evaluation. Yeah, so that's some clear data here. We will be able. So this is like we actually have done.
Sorry, if you go back to that one, just we can look at this a little bit. No, the funding round. So yeah, Thrive Capital, Stage, Investors, awesome. For currency, we should actually have some currencies that have been published. So take a look at that. You should be able to actually do that as a relation. Maybe we can post it out afterwards so people can see what space that's in and how to link to that. And then to check for the valuation, can we tell here whether that's like a text or a number?
So text.
So the text property. So we probably want that to be a number, right? And we should be able to control the formatting. So let's see if we can format that the way we want, but that way we can do like sorting and things like that. We want to treat that as a number. So small things, but yeah, it's looking really good.
Some advanced level ontology, like we're not there yet, but as a preview, like once we really start getting a hang of it. For example, investors, if they invested in this funding round, a big part of the knowledge graph is the relations. And in the relation between the investor and the funding round, you can actually start adding the properties, including how much exactly, for example, they invested in the round. So, something to look forward as we'll want to start like really leveraging the ontology fully, but this is already a huge, nice step towards the right direction. So key AI models, so that's great. We have some here. Some maybe quick advice on this. As we're adding example entities, it's good to sort of also understand well the prioritization. And let's think, like if I'm adding small amount of entities, what are the top examples of that entity? That's a kind of a good way to think about it, especially in the beginning. GPT-3, that's like an OG model. That's a good one to have. Here, right away, I would say like a good question to ask yourself when you're adding the data, any content is, what kind of important relations between this exist, right, with some other important entity. So first thing that comes to mind, when I'm thinking about GPT-3, okay, so probably there should be a relation with OpenAI, right? And then the question to answer is, what would be that property, right? And so that could be like, is it like a company, or like a launching company, or what would be the property to link with it? And then we would connect to OpenAI, because they on the model. So that's a quick note on that. But overall, yep.
A quick note on that entity that you just had up. It looks like the data type for parameter count is actually text, and we just want to make sure if we're using like numbers, we don't want to write text as 175 billion instead. Format a number property to use.
Cool. So yeah, so that was the same as the funding amount. So yeah, it's good call out to use numbers.
May I?
Yeah.
We inherit many of these data type from the launch ontology. We are trying to fix them as fast as we can. Sorry about.
All good, all good. And yeah, I think we may see some like bulk edits in the next kind of few days to try to fix some things. Definitely, anything that is not like consistent or whatever, it's going to be easier to fix it now than later. So, yeah, I think we'll try to spend the week doing some small things there.
Yeah, and also like it's fully, I think, understood well. Like we are building this as we go, right? And it's a shared knowledge graph. There's many people working on the data at the same time, and we are interconnecting it in real time. So this is supposed to evolve, right? Like it's good that we publish some, like we weren't ready to do the numbers, but we did it. But we did add the data. We know that we have it. We know that on what do we want to improve. So this is a total natural part of the process, and then ontology will improve, and it will be, more and more complex over time. But but this is exactly the way to do it. Is to through publishing real data. So we have the tools looking good here. This is, I'm really looking forward to start seeing the tools, especially once we have the ranking and we can, if I can start organizing tools by use cases, and if I can just check on Geo, hey, so for my use case, I want to maybe generate some imagery or something like that. And if I go in, like just find like the, the most relevant, the best tools that the community decided are the best right away, I think that's going to be a really powerful use case for us. Especially that we can be very granular with the way that we want to organize, with specific use cases. Maybe I want to generate images, but specifically, maybe I want to generate images that have consistent aesthetics, for example, right? Or want them to be editable. So, looking good here. Funding round. So, some additional information on the funding. I think maybe there's a bit of I think it's looking the same. Amount raised. This is in dollars. Like I think we could check for consistency with the. I think it's like in 1.6B. I think it's the same format. So looking good. More of that, and repositories. So here we have. Backed by Google, contributors, GitHub stars. We have a web URL, software license, and like also cool. We have relations are fully leveraged. Contributors, Gene. type person, like type is added. Yeah, looking good. So looking good on the AI space. And the crypto space is the final one. We have the grant programs. Yeah, so same point about the numbers. Even when we do the text, consistency is good. For example, either we do with the dollar amounts or without them, but it should be one and the same as much as we can. Focus areas, that's going to be a great area for improvement to actually make those as entities and connect them as.
And just to make it clear, I don't know if we've shown people really how to do the number formatting. So might actually be worth taking a moment now. Like if you go to budget and you just open that property up, hopefully you're an editor in that space and you can go into edit mode. Well, this one
Not
is
in
actually even a
crypto.
text property. So it should be that if it's a number property, you should
Yeah,
be able to
let
set
me check on this.
you should be able to set the format on the property. And that's a decision that we made, that the formatting basically is done at the property level, right? So then any value with that property will be formatted that way. And we have all kinds of formatting options. So I don't know if that's something that you can go to somewhere, but um,
Yeah, let me check in on.
I haven't looked in on this feature in a while, but it should be possible. So good for people to know that you can control that formatting.
Yeah, so I think so. Right here is we have like the currency here. So and for this,
But that's also text.
yeah. It's
Here,
also
but that's, you might be able to change it if you
Yeah,
should
I
be
think
able
it's in the industry space, which I'm not in. I think is a.
to.
But yeah, so we'll be able to show. Yeah, and I think we could do like maybe a short post on that as I feel like it's like a bigger update that we want to start incorporate it, so we can do a quick overview on how that's done.
Sounds good. Cool. Okay, maybe that's a good overview for now,
Yep,
in the
thanks.
interest of time, but some really awesome contributions. I mean, this is super exciting. I mean, great work, everyone, over the last week. It's really cool to see all of this content coming in, and people have been doing a really great job, and it's just super awesome to see. So, yeah, please keep it up. All right. I don't have my Zoom window where I want it now. Sorry. There we go. So, continuing here, update on points. So we've gotten a bunch of proposals over the last week that have been published. Some of them might have been complete, some of them might have not been complete. But we know people are eager to start getting their points. So you can expect to start getting points allocated for your completed work this week in the next few days. So we've been working on, just iterating on how we link that to the proposals. I've mentioned already, some of them might be linked, some of them might not be linked. But we're eager to get y'all your points for the work that you've done. So we'll share an update probably in Discord once we've started allocating those out, and you can look forward to seeing these hitting your accounts starting this week. Last week, we announced just on this call internally our community calls feature, and we're going live with these starting this week. So we just got those published. We were having an issue with the rendering on one of them, so sorry about that. We're looking into it. Also, these are not updated properly, so. Excuse that as well. We don't have this hooked up here. But the three calls, the crypto community call, AI community call, and health community calls have been scheduled. This date is not correct. So it's Wednesday, noon PT for the crypto community call. This should be Thursday, This one we're doing late Pacific time so that it's better for folks in Europe and Asia. So this is 9 p.m. PT for the health community call, which will be this Thursday. We'll send this out afterwards. Sorry about this. And then Friday, 11 a.m., this is PT for the AI community call. These times should show in your local time zone. I don't know what's going on with the health one, but it should show in your local time zone. Right now, ignore this here, but you should be able to add to calendar. So give that a shot. And if you are a member of the space, then you should be able to speak on the call. If you're not yet a member of that space, make sure that you've been added as a member before then, and we'll give it a shot. It's going to be our first time giving this a shot, but we want to make it easy to schedule these calls for people to join them, to record the videos and post those, right? So reminder, all of these videos are going to be recorded. We should be able to have our first ones already starting this week. So we'll see you there. We'll be breaking out into smaller groups, and it'll be great, I think, to get into more detailed discussions. Hopefully people can show things with each other. And I think for the first calls, we're going to want to start by really at a high level orienting around goals and things for each space, right? What is our goal with the AI space or with the health space? These are going to be long-lived communities, so we want to start really establishing those independent communities. Yep, you'll see it right there in your dashboard. Okay, a few notes from curators. Adam, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I've been very happy that all of you have been connecting with our mentors. And yeah, again, a huge thank you for the mentors. They've been, taking a lot of time in their days, in their weekends, to kind of onboard you guys and make sure that your contributions are done precisely. We're still, putting out a few quality of life updates to make it easier and better for you guys to publish. But in the meantime, please continue reviewing your content with the mentors before you publish. It's just to make sure that we're using the correct ontologies, that you're publishing in the right way, in the right spaces. As there's still quite a few kind of duplicates and a few things that we're working on fixing. A second note, as you know, proposals need to be voted in the first 24 hours. If it's not voted, your proposal disappears. To make sure that we don't miss a vote, please send a message to one of your mentor, ideally, one of the editors. Remind them that you've just submitted a proposal, and that way they can go do it and directly vote. We're doing our best not to miss them, but when you get 40, 50 proposals in a short amount of time, it can be tricky. And then
one more thing actually to note, a feature we're getting in here, hopefully in the next day or so, is you may have seen a proposal kind of get stuck in this like waiting to execute phase. That is something that happens if after the 24 hours is over, somebody needs to actually push a button to execute the proposal, but we're going to be automating that. So that might have been confusing. I think it was not necessarily communicated to all of the editors as well. Just so you know, that's anything there where there's a button that says execute proposal, we need somebody to hit that and it'll be automated. So we don't have to worry about that. Just to explain.
Thanks, Yaniv. And yeah, that's it on our end. Just wanted to make sure that we passed on this feedback that we've been working closely with the mentors, and this is some guidance they wanted to share with you guys.
Great. Do we have any feedback or comments from anyone. I think we did a good job of looking through recent contributions, but any feedback?
I'm happy to share some additional items from
Oh,
my work if
please.
anybody is interested. Okay. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, give me 1 second. You might have to request it, and then I can let you.
All right, let me see if it works.
Yeah,
Can you see? Okay.
we can.
So I've been working with Armando, and one of the things I wanted to call out is actually a lot of work is happening off geo. So, and I think that is the right way to go about it. So we spend a lot of time talking about, blocks I'm experiencing. So, for example, we want certain ontological items to be in the geospace. I obviously don't have access to that, but he does. So, if it is a piece of an ontology like a property or something that will be used in many spaces. So I've been working on educational content for the AI space. Well, lessons and topics for lessons and that sort of thing is going to be all over Geo. So I was waiting periodically for him to get a chance to submit those things before I could actually publish anything. But because of that, we had lots of back and forth, lots of really good opportunities to talk and think through the ontology, what makes sense. And it's an evolving thing, but before I even published anything, hours of effort had gone into just making sure that everything was set up for me. And I think that really helped my thought process and my I don't have that much published on Geo at this time, but I have a large CSV file. So Yaniv, your comment earlier about new tools for publishing CSV files, that's going to be helpful for me. But I am also playing with the SDK, so we'll see which one I end up using. But talking with your editor really is a good idea because you will save yourself a lot of work in the future having to fix things if you go through the conversation with them first. And then, if you have a technical skill, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to make the same decision as someone else with that technical skill about ontology. So there's still a huge need for, getting on the same page about what the content policies are and what you should do. It's just better to plan and talk a lot before you make edits. And I really feel like I've been working hard the last couple of weeks, and I really think that the next couple of weeks from now, the work will go a lot smoother because of the good conversations I've had with Armando. He's been really awesome and helping me thinking through things. So I really did a lot of work on GitHub on my desktop using files like Excel files and CSV files for the last couple weeks. And he looks at my work. We share a Notion for task lists and that sort of thing, and that's been really really good. The other thing, Adam was on one of our calls and gave some guidance that I think was really good. To have the work sessions with your mentor be where the curator is driving and controlling Geo, because it's difficult to navigate the UI if you haven't used it before. So rather than watching your mentor operate in Geo, it's good to operate in Geo with one of them on the call, and then they can point out, oh, you're not selecting the correct type, or so for example, like the numbers you were talking about, I might not have known the difference between text and number at first, or how to switch. But if I was doing it live with my mentor, he could point out that that needs to be done. So that's really good and helped me a lot. Learning how to use Geo watching was okay, but it doesn't stick as much as if you do it yourself. So I've been publishing a couple courses, don't really have a lot published on Geo, but I'm looking forward to putting more this next couple weeks with either the SDK or the CSV imports if those get ready before I figure out the code stuff. Just wanted to thank Hashir for providing some schema that really helped my open code know what to do with API. And Preston as well for the really awesome tech demo. I, basically just extended that, copied a lot of the work that you had already done, and that really set me off to a good starting point. I am a developer, but I don't do anything with TypeScript or any web development related stuff. I do basically, it's ETL, so doing like database work or a little bit of RPA. So basically, nothing to do with GraphQL or TypeScript. So it's been really important to have the support of more experienced developers, and the developer channel in the Discord has been really helpful for that. So that's all I've got for now. But really good experience early on, and really like awesome support from everybody. So I think it's going really well, and I'm excited to do more.
Hey,
Thanks a lot.
that was awesome. Thank you, Thomas. Really great share. And yeah, thank you for the feedback. And yeah, I think it's really important and valuable for people to be able to learn from each other. So yeah, sharing your experience like that is super great. And everybody else, please feel free to find some time to do the same so we can all learn from each other. Um,
Yaniv,
mhm.
just to close things out, I think also Kevin, who's in the call, wanted to share a bit his experience and the things he's been working on that I think can be quite inspiring, particularly for all the health folks out there.
Real quick. I'll make it real quick here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. I'm gonna try to share here. So let's see if it works. Can we see?
We can.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin. I'm a pharmacist here in the Pacific Northwest of the US. And I've had my head down working on what I've kind of termed or loosely as a decentralized drug information project. I've worked a lot with different standardized codes in past lives and building things and inventory management. And just quickly, what I've tried to do here is take some of these codes that are like rich in info, one of which is the RX norm code base, which defines all prescribable concepts, drug types, NDCs, which are national drug codes, which are really useful. There's also a daily med release that the FDA manages and curates, and that's all package inserts. So every mandated piece of drug information has to be in these monthly releases. And then lastly, I kind of added some PubChem info. All of this info kind of serves as what I look like a lattice that I can kind of hang things from later on. It can connect to a lot of different stuff. This is probably like less than 1% of the UMLS code that the National Institutes of Medicine kind of curates. But briefly, what I've done is create a process. It takes about 30 minutes. It breaks everything down. It runs it against each other. It establishes relationships, indexes everything, and then it standardizes it to GRC20 format. When it's done running, this is kind of what the output looks like. So it's taking in full files, ingesting them, and then outputting them with their relationships. At the end of the day, we end up with 240 NDC codes, 240,000 NDC codes. That's really what I was after. If you're a pharmacist or in healthcare, I'm sure you're familiar with all these codes, but NDC codes, especially if they're already curated and we know they're active codes, I can point to this and say, this is verifiably everything in the data set that we want. And I can attach pricing, I can attach other things to that. But just really briefly here, I stood up a front end just to kind of show you what the data looks like and how it can kind of be parsed. I got to get around this menu here. So this is just a front end that I stood up with the help of a chatbot that was like really feeling cocky one day and kind of put all this up here. So, but there's a lot of rich info in here. So just kind of give you an idea of what's produced after I kind of run this. It breaks everything up by package insert. And then it kind of, if you're a pharmacist, especially, you're probably used to using clinical pharmacology or micromedics. And this is basically what that is. They're indexing behind a paywall all of this same information that we can just pull out and kind of break up. So this is all chunked and ready to load into a knowledge graph, which I've kind of done here. So the last thing I'll show you, I know we're tight on time, is I stood up another little chatbot here and it takes forever to answer. So I already asked it a prompt. I was frantically doing this during the call because I broke it. But this chatbot is actually walking my knowledge graph here. So it's just walking package inserts to give me this answer. And the last cool thing I'll mention is at time of ingestion and creation, a Providence endpoint or a citation is being attached to every data point. That's what I feel like is maybe one of the most important things here is just getting where did this come from? When did it come from? When did I access it? So this is calling the tools that it used just kind of for debugging. But in my mind, what I kind of see for Providence here is it just is going to cite, it's embedded in the triple, the GRC20 triple, the citation that it used. It walks the graph, it finds the info, and then it can tell me it went right to this package insert that I loaded earlier today, and that's where it got the info from. So just to kind of wrap it all up, this is very like complete info that the National Institutes of Medicine curates, and it gives us, I mean, I wanted to show you how PubMed works today, but I can take a crosswalk file from PubChem and link it to PubMed IDs, and then I have the entire PubMed repository open to us. And I can chunk it, I can break it down, I can put it through an LLM to pull out drug interactions and different things. There's just so much info here, and it's so standardized already that it's just like, maybe it's a lot of work, but it feels like low-hanging fruit. So yeah, that's the gist of it.
Wow, that is so awesome. Man, killing the game. And yeah, it's the power of knowledge graphs. And I mean, there's so much that we can do in health, right? In all these different spaces. So really cool to see you diving in like that. And wow, really impressive initial showing. So I mean, just super excited to see how that develops. Please keep us posted as you continue. Super, super cool. Looks like we had a question from Ali. Did you want to ask?
Yeah, hello everyone. I have a question. Could you please share information when the next onboarding of curators will take place?
Yes. So, I mean, we're doing it kind of continuously, but please, maybe if you can post in the Discord just with a little more context, and we'll make sure that you can get set up or whoever you have in mind.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So, great work, everyone. Super exciting to see all the progress. It really is just, one step in front of the other, but already seeing such high quality contributions. And now, people sharing with each other is just so awesome to see. So please keep it up. We're excited to get the first round of points for bounties allocated this week. And let's keep it going. So thanks, everyone. Have a really great week. Really excited for the curator calls, the community calls, starting on Wednesday. So please put it in your calendar and join us for the first individualized community calls. And see y'all online in the Geoverse. Thanks, everyone.